Okay, so I wanted to make a little video because I've been way more active as far as making music is going, and I wanted to try and do something music related and put it up and share it every like 3 days tops. So it's been 2 days so far. Trying to stay on top of this because the more time I put into Ableton, the better I'm getting, especially when I mess around with things. So I'm gonna do my best, like trying to narrate this, but sometimes I go a little fast and sometimes I go a little slow. What I'm basically gonna be doing in this video is showing off Form, which is a synthesizer I've been using recently. There it is, and I just think it's awesome, and you're gonna see why it's awesome. So what I just did is I dragged the sample that I pulled, that little click, that wood click, into there. And what's happening is Form is using that as the main oscillator. Basically, the see, the waveform from that percussion is now my main oscillator. It's my main sound source. And then from there, Form can modulate and edit it and just go crazy on it. So the first thing that I'm going to mess around with is the sample length. What I did is I added an envelope to it, and what you can do is have it move a lot faster. And then I looped it. So what happens is the sample playback happens a lot faster, and then because it's looping, every time it goes through the whole sound wave, it re-triggers basically once it loops back over. So that's what happens when you add an envelope with a really slow attack and tell it to max out the sample length speed, and you have it looped. It'll play itself over and over and over again, and you have that roll. See, the longer you hold the button down, the faster it plays. Adjusting the attack and decay can create some really cool glitching effects too. So that's one of the things I've been enjoying with Form, is that now I just flipped it. So the motion curve section shows how it runs through the audio file that's loaded. So now I have it reversed. So instead of hitting and then fading, you get the fade backwards into the hit. Kind of creeps up on you. You can make some really weird sounds with this program. It's kind of awesome. I'm in love with it right now. What I just did is I went to the curve editor, and what I'm doing is I'm changing how much of the file that I'm using. So the percussive element to this is the sound envelope shrinking away. So if you really wanted to, you could do granular synthesis, but I'm just trying to make a rhythm. And I'm trying to make a rhythm based off of re-triggering itself and adjusting the speed. And it was a bit loud, so I turned it down. So I'm going to try and make a loop with it. Oh, I did make a loop. That's right. The problem is that for whatever reason, it's the speed is set to sync with the BPM, but for some reason, because I'm tweaking the speed with an envelope, it falls off time. So if you notice, the notes I'm playing, they don't line up with the lines, and the lines represent where the metronome hits what the beat is. So I ended up with a rhythm that didn't match up with the metronome. So now I'm going to fuck around and see if I can come up with something else that works a little better. And remember, this is just playing with the sync speed. This is just playing with the speed playback. There's so much more to this program. This is just step one. This is why I love this program. Metronome back on, take two. Oh, if you see my mouse wiggling, it's going to the tempo, and I'm trying to demonstrate visually it is not matching up, and I'm not happy. Realistically, I should have kept that. I'm getting better at keeping the things I make. Oh, cool thing too, another way of doing granular synthesis in this is just having the playback speed be really slow. playing notes an octave lower. I think I'm onto something. Too much delay. Sounds very tribal. I dig it. Trying to find the right notes. Gonna make them legato so that they hold. Then I'm gonna clean up all the ones that don't fall on the beat so that the rhythm makes sense. Adjusted the attack speed of the envelope affecting the playback speed. So I got this cool little swing going. So you can change the pitch of the original thing. I don't like any of that. I kind of liked where it was before. Change the format. This actually sounds cool. I kind of wish I would have kept that in retrospect. FM synthesis. You can just have a stereo spread. I found this in one of their samples. They have it waver back and forth. And you only need a little bit of stereo, literally like any stereo, to give it like kind of a stereo effect and some life. So I'm changing up the LFO that's affecting the stereo panning. Stereo imaging. Messing with the filter. Frequency shaping is interesting because each one of those squares is essentially a bandpass filter. And you can have them interact and phase out frequencies you don't want. I'm adding warmth. But yeah, the frequency shaping is going to be huge. I still haven't completely wrapped my head around it. And all of those parameters controlling it are automatable too. Or not automatable, you can modulate them. Doing a high filter to cut out all the annoying low end. Multiply section, it adds extra voices. There we go. Additive oscillator. You can either have it just be an oscillator that follows the pitch curve of the original sample, or as you're going to see, you can have it FM modulate. I forget if I add FM modulation to this one. I don't think I do. No, that's right. Down the size, but keep it large so it adds a lot of space without becoming really annoying. And everything's synced to the BPM. So as I change everything, all the modulation keeps pace. That's the shaper that I'm messing with. I haven't figured out exactly what it does, but I know that the higher it goes, the more high end goes, which can get rid of some really annoying high end frequencies without having to use the filter to do it. You're only given one filter. I'm gonna mess with the oscillator shape, but square gives it the most character. Just adding a little touch of multiply to give it a little more life. and gonna add a second voice. This is where things go awry, and I kind of show off how easy it is to completely mess up a sound, just by trying to do too much or doing the wrong things. What I originally wanted was some sort of hi-hat or lead melody kind of programmed with it. So at one point I'm doing it right now. I have an LFO cranked all the way up, and then I want to go make it a square LFO and have it hit on the beat. Or in other words, I want to set it to, I think, a quarter, but I set it to an eighth note. It basically turns this second instrument on and off. 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. There's the shaper in action. I forget what I'm trying to do here. Oh, I wanted to give it a little bit of slide. So I assigned that to LFO2, and now I'm shaping up LFO2. Although what I got to start with was pretty good too. And now I'm completely off track from where I originally started. Thank you, ADHD. Trying to copy the reverb settings on the other one so they sound like they're in the same room. Except I mess with this one for some reason. Add some warmth because it was really quiet. And some dynamics because I want it to blend. Dynamics is basically a compressor. Alright, those 5 knobs in the middle, if you mess with them too much, or if you do them wrong, they will just destroy your sound. You'll see. The SC, sidechain modulation, you can combine 2 modulators that you already have them either multiply or crossfade. It's something I'm still not super familiar with, but I mess with it here. Part of why I mess with it here is that you can have LFOs be free. In other words, they'll constantly modulate, or you can have them trigger, so the modulation will start over every time a note's hit. So by mixing both of the LFOs together, I have aspects of the first LFO, and I have the rhythmic assets of the other one. And then this is pointless, because I don't think I end up doing anything with the speed playback. Although I don't remember. Oh yeah. Still, one of my favorite parts of this program is that speed playback and motion curve. Those are the 2 big selling points of this thing. Right now, I'm totally lost, by the way. Again, it's so easy to just destroy a sound by doing the wrong thing. The learning curve on this is actually kind of high. But there's a lot of depth to this program. It's part of why I'm trying to spend more time with it. Again, when I initially set up to make this sound, it was supposed to be like a hi-hat or like a beep or something. And I don't know what I'm doing at this point. That's the additive oscillator, 36 semitones up, so 3 octaves up. One thing I need to... Oh, what did I do? That's kind of neat. See, I wish I would have kept stuff like that now. That's the thing, is looking back at these recordings. Hindsight's 2020. So what I'm about to do is this multi-mode turned red. What's happening is both of these are playing at the same time, both of the sounds I made. And they do not match up at all. So panic mode. You can even see it in the mouse. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. This is the unfortunate part of the program, is that it's so easy, again, to mess up the sound that you're trying to go for just by doing too much or getting too far ahead of yourself. Realistically, if I would have just had the initial oscillator off and had the additive oscillator on, and that be the only source of sound, it would have just been the beep, and then I could have had kind of a syncopation there. Instead, I have just this weird, nonsensical mess. And I'm probably gonna cut this and fast forward, because I do a whole bunch of nothing for like 10 minutes or something. So I'm gonna cut it here and fast forward. So I decided to do some FM modulation. I finally got it to kind of line up with the drums a little bit, but it's just weird. It's just weird, man. It's kind of cool though. Again, I'm still struggling to figure out the hell I'm doing. It sounds like a sheep, like a really sad sheep. It's moping. It's just upset. I don't know why it sounds like a sheep to me. Very strange image. Yeah, I mean, listen to that compared to what I started with. It's just a mess. It's just insane how much you can just destroy a sound if you really want to. And again, I'm still a novice at this. There's so much to learn. Like, this is just 2 voices. You can have up to 12 voices. I don't mess with it in this one, but you can have it so that individual notes change the voicing, so you can have like multiple instances of the sound, and have it switch between them on a key press on a note, and you can have multiple voices going at the same time, which is it's basically like taking everything that I'm learning in form and like squaring the complexity. One thing I also got to get better at is working with the frequency shaper, because you can automate those squares where they sit, how tall they are. By the way, where they sit is the frequency that they're affecting. How tall they are is the volume, and then you can adjust the width. Pretty much, they're again 2 bandpass filters. And part of the reason that they're there is because if you mess with something the wrong way, you're going to have a whole bunch of unwanted frequencies. So that's one way that they added to kind of regulate that. Yeah, still doing random stuff. I am gonna fast forward it a little bit more again. One of the cool things is that everything's modulatable, including the octave that the oscillator is, and it only moves through perfect intervals, octaves and fifths. So you can modulate that, and that's how you're gonna hear all the video game noises, pretty much, that you're gonna hear right now. This is honestly something I need to mess around with a lot more. It sounds really cool in my opinion. The hardest part is that it's really, really hard to dial this stuff in. And I wish they would have made that a little easier. I'm about done here. Yeah, okay. Now I'm just gonna fuck around with the thing, and my machine jam disconnected while I was going on for some reason. So I'm on my other keyboard. Playing this a little too fast. How sick is that? It sounds like a messed up Mario Fireball. Remember, this all started from like not a kalimba. It was a little woodblock hit. This is a woodblock hit through form. What I'm doing is I have a legato and a huge glide on. Well, not yet. Now I have a gigantic glide, and I'm gonna hit a note really low, and then I'm gonna hit a note really high. 'Cause I do that. It's beautiful. Reminds me of Qzar. Anyways, that's form. Thanks for watching.